rolling?
That's it.
So I've been watching lately, a lot of your videos you've been posting have been like higher quality.
Yeah.
Is that something that you mentioned today you're going to film? Is that something that's what you're working on today, or something different?
Yeah. We're going to film trying to help homeless and see if we can get someone off the streets, that wants a second chance.
Mm-hmm. And is that just somebody on your team that you've now added just to get some like higher quality footage, basically?
Yeah. So he reached out to me, and he likes what I do, and I've been doing all my footage myself, editing, everything. So it gets overwhelming.
Definitely.
But yeah, he came on, and he's been great. His filming is amazing.
Yeah, so, it looks awesome. It definitely, and I think it's good to have both. Like, I really like having the iPhone stuff, and then you mix in like the really high quality stuff.
Correct.
It really pops.
Yeah,
it looks really cool.
Yeah, it is a big difference.
Yeah,
I thought the iPhone had a good camera, but
yeah, which it does. But yeah, it's definitely next level. It's cool because when you're on your page, you have the one video that's iPhone, and then the next one, it really helps contrast the difference between like, this is a nice camera. This is
correct.
Cool.
Yeah,
yeah, adds a little depth to it. But and it's interesting that you say like it is so time consuming to post content. And even me, I don't post nearly as much content as you do. I just started a couple months ago, and I even have somebody that I hired to help me edit.
Yeah, you almost need to.
And so I'm wondering too, like with you didn't start out as like a content creator. You had a business first.
Correct. Yeah.
So has the time changed as far as the time you dedicate to the business to the time that you dedicate to social media? What does that balance look like for you now?
So, I mean, I'd have to say now everything's just busier, like literally nonstop. Where I'm going home, I get in my office, I'm doing some editing and posting. It's just literally nonstop.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
So you're still doing both full time?
Yeah, both.
Sounds exhausting.
Yeah, I'm very exhausted.
Yeah.
But I mean, I enjoy it. I'm helping people, so it's an addiction to me.
Yeah.
It's rewarding. So
definitely. So your day are you getting up and you're going to job sites as well?
Yeah.
As then trying to mix in the filming and stuff and doing the editing after?
That's why I got my boots on.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I can imagine that's takes a lot.
Yeah.
So are you now going to start adding people to the team? Like you've editing, filming?
So, I mean, I'd like to. I think one's good enough for now. Honestly, the funds are not there.
Yeah.
For me to hire more people. It's expensive, obviously, as you know. So, I mean, I do what I can for now.
Yeah. So are you able, you're not really able, or you haven't made a big effort to monetize the social media aspect of it? That's more of like your nonprofit side of it, and you're still just your main source of income is the landscaping business?
Correct, yeah. I mean, I do make some money on TikTok now. Instagram's not that much, but eventually, if I can make more money, I mean, what I like to do is if I'm making money, if I make $10,000, in 1 month, I want to put out at least half of that, giving back into the community.
Yep.
So
with the I have TikTok, obviously. I follow you. I have for a long time, but I have 200 followers, so I'm not like very up to date with the creator fund and stuff like that. Is that when you say get paid on TikTok? Is that where a lot of that money comes from? Is they pay creators because they're probably showing ads for the videos that you post, stuff like that?
Yeah. So I still to this day don't understand how they make their money because if I see my video, there's no ad in it.
Yeah.
So I don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me.
I don't know.
But I get paid like $1.20 per 1,000 views.
Okay.
So it adds up.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're making some money off that. Interesting. And then when I started following you, so we, you and I don't, we're acquaintances. We've talked and met a couple times, but just kind of in passing, right? So we know
Correct.
We both have the same barber.
Yeah.
Essentially, right? Is how we
He's
know
the
each
best.
other. He is. And what's great about him is that this was back, you probably had, maybe you had 100,000 followers on TikTok or something when you first showed me your thing, maybe less.
Yeah.
You had just started making some videos. And what's great about Luke is that he's always going to show his friends what his other friends are doing.
That's right. Yep.
Right. So I think it wasn't just me. I think probably everybody in his chair, he was like, yo, check out my friend Victor.
Yeah.
What he's doing on TikTok, follow him. And that's when I did originally. And then when you were making content, you were running the landscaping business, and the core of your content was just doing random acts of kindness for the employees that work for you.
Correct. Yeah. Just being the good boss.
Yeah. And that took off and you got a lot of traction with that.
Yep.
At what point did you decide to kind of switch lanes? Because I think what I've seen now is your focus is more on helping people get off the street, helping people get treatment for substance use disorders. When did that transition kind of happen for you?
So it really happened when, I guess, I seen someone on the side of the road holding a sign, a homeless person, and I said, why not ask him if he wants to work? Let's see if he's real.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, that's their job.
Sure.
They hold a sign, they panhandle.
Sure.
So that was where it started. I ended up, picking him up off the street, got him clean, sober. It was like 8 months of just being there for him. And then obviously there comes to a point where you got to kind of be on your own. I can't babysit forever. So
of course
we kind of, went our own ways. And ever since then, I started a nonprofit and I started helping more people. But it's not as easy as people think. People think it's super easy, but it's not.
No, and I understand. And I had a friend of mine in here yesterday, and we were talking a lot about this, about recovery, because I'm in recovery as well. I don't know if you knew that or not.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I know you are, and you have experience with that.
Correct.
And it is tough, and I think it's also tough for people on the outside looking in, where I know even in my friend group, so I think in my core friend group, I'm the only person in recovery. I'm the only person that's experienced addiction firsthand. And when it comes to the topic of helping people on the street or giving money to somebody on the street, it's a very controversial topic in the sense that a lot of people are against it, right? A lot of people are like, you can't help those people. They're all, they're faking it, or you're going to give them money. They're going to go use that money for drugs.
Correct.
And I've never felt that way. And I think obviously it's because I've experienced things differently. I've always been of the mindset, well, I can't fault somebody for using drugs. It's kind of the hierarchy of needs. I mean, you don't have access to a roof over your head. You don't have clean clothes. You don't have any connection with people around you that care about you and love you. You don't have a job. So if you don't have any of those things, I can't walk up to you and be like, why are you using drugs? You need to stop immediately, right?
Correct.
We kind of have to have a little empathy and understand that there's a lot of layers to it.
Yeah. There's a lot, even it can go way back as, you being a child, you could be abused, and that's why people use drugs or become homeless. You don't know what someone's life story is like.
1,000%. Yeah. And we had this conversation yesterday, and I've experienced sexual abuse as a kid. He did as well. And we were having the conversation of like, without a doubt, 100% of people that I know with substance use disorder have some sort of childhood trauma.
Correct.
100% of the time.
Yeah.
And so, it's not that it's not really a drug problem. It's the fact that somebody doesn't have the tools. They haven't been taught the ways to deal with the stuff that they experienced. The only thing that's worked for them thus far is drugs. And then, as we know, that's a slippery slope into, homelessness and all kinds of issues and
death.
Yeah. Ultimately. Yeah. Death is ultimately, unfortunately, what happens. But I've always, for me, it's like I can relate to what you do because I do it a lot as well. I'm always quick to give somebody money. I don't have an expectation attached to it of, wanting to control what they do with it. I understand that sometimes you try to help people, they're going to use drugs. It's just going to happen.
Yeah.
When you do it, like there's also a lot of like, do you agree with me when I say that? Like, when you give somebody, I guess the way that I feel about it, that's a little controversial, is I'm kind of the mindset, okay, if somebody asks me for $20 or somebody asks me for $1, if I give them $1, give them $10 and they use that for drugs, I don't really care, because going back to what I said is, well, yeah, but look at the situation that person's in. If that's the only relief they have today, do I want them to do that forever? No, obviously we want them to eventually get on the right path. But I feel like the first step to doing that is just having that connection, right? It's the way that you might drive up to somebody and ask them 10 times if they want a job. You might give them a few bucks. The first 9 times they might use that to buy drugs, but you're still having 9 opportunities to have a connection with that person. And then maybe the 10th time they're like, you know what? I think I'm ready for help.
Yeah. You're basically just planting the seed. You keep asking them and asking them. Eventually they're going to take you up on that offer, hopefully.
Hopefully. And then it's scary because it's not guaranteed. I mean, I don't know your numbers, but as far as like the people that you help, I'm sure a lot of them revert back into old ways
Correct.
as well. And so that's a tough thing to reconcile. And that's, looking in from the outside, people that haven't experienced it, they look at that as failure. But I probably did 10 different, ways of trying to go to treatment before something stuck.
Yeah, it never happens in the first time. It's very rare.
Rare. Yeah. So what is your process when you pull up on somebody, and how does that conversation usually go?
So, I mean, right when I pull up to them, I just say, "What's up, man? What's your name?" And then I'll just ask them, "Hey, do you want a job? Do you want to get off the streets?" And then I just kind of take it from there and see what they say, and get the feeling of them, because most of the time they don't want to change. They just want money.
Why do you think that is? Do you think that's because they really don't want to change at that point, which could be true, or do you also think they're very skeptical of you pulling up to them and your motives?
I think they're skeptical, and I think they're stuck. I think they don't know what the real world is actually like.
Yeah.
So, I mean, a lot of homeless people, that's what they know. They know how to be homeless. And it's sad, because everyone looks at them as, they're a nobody, but they are a person. We're all human.
Totally.
So,
yeah, it's weird. I always make this effort, and I've talked to my girlfriend about this. Anytime that I walk by a homeless person, I always make eye contact with them and greet them like I do everybody else.
Correct. Don't treat them differently.
Yeah, and I think it's sad to think that that's probably rare. That probably happens to them once every couple of weeks.
Correct. Yeah, I agree with that.
Which is crazy to think about, and it goes a long way. I mean, you can really just taking the time just to talk to somebody and treat them like a human being, I think, is more valuable than giving them a few bucks. That's
yeah, and you'll be
huge.
shocked if you just take a few minutes and sit down and talk with them. You'll be shocked at what you hear from them. What comes out of their mouth.
Yeah. So you pull up on somebody. If they do say yes, I want help, then what happens?
I give them my number and I say, call me whenever you're ready.
And so right now, are you actually? Because I know it started with, do you want a job? Are you actually trying to get people a job? Or obviously, if somebody's struggling with substance use, it's hard to you can't just put them on a job site, right?
Correct.
So what's the process?
So I'll give them the option to get clean. That's what I recommend, or that's what I ask for. If I'm going to hire someone, you can't come on and be on drugs working for me.
Right. So
you have to get clean, and I'll give them the opportunity. If I don't have the funding, I'll look for a scholarship.
Gotcha. And so you're basically a recovery coach of sorts. Like, you're just connecting the dots for them of, here's the treatment options. Here's
Correct.
what I can do. I can line these up for you. And just kind of being a liaison.
Yeah, I'm basically outreach in my truck. I drive around and I'll offer them the job. I'll offer them help. I'll guide them the way, but there does come a point where, I have to step back and they have to take it from there. Yeah.
Of course. Yeah. And I'm glad you say that, because there's this, and I was speaking with my friend that I keep bringing up yesterday about this. We had a long conversation about recovery and outreach and the recovery community. And there's a lot of people that kind of get stuck in the recovery bubble of only doing recovery.
Yeah, correct.
And I think we were talking about how it's so important that him and I have been able to go outside of that bubble, right? And create, like you as well, creating a company for yourself, creating, your own income, things like that. And it's important to not only be successful in, the recovery rooms and treatment programs and in that small community, but to break out into the real world and have life skills and success as well. So it's, I think you agree with that, where you kind of have to go out there. And the guy that I picture the guy that you're talking about. I know who it is now, that you first helped. How is he doing? Is he?
So
good?
We don't talk anymore. He does have his social media pages where people can definitely check him out.
Yeah.
We just kind of went our own ways.
Okay.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Not everyone's meant to be together all the time. We were too close. I shouldn't say too close. We were very close in the beginning. Things were great. But, there comes a point where you just kind of got to go your own ways. No hard feelings, no disrespect. But he's a great kid, and I hope he's doing well.
Okay. Yeah, I did. I have looked him up and stuff, and he seems to just be doing his thing. But
Yeah, I think he started a business.
Yeah.
Cleaning windows or something like that.
Yeah, and I don't know the situation. I can imagine it's difficult, especially being in early recovery, to deal with all of the attention and criticism. Correct. I mean, I can't imagine, because I know there was a bunch of, hate being slung at you for a while on social media. I definitely saw that. And I can imagine that was really stressful to deal with, because I see it even for myself on a really small scale. You have almost 3 million followers on TikTok, around there. Mm-hmm. And I have, a tiny portion of that, and I post videos and I get a ton of hate comments.
Yeah.
So I can imagine it's like you received that times 1,000.
Correct.
How did you, was that a really difficult time for you to get through emotionally?
Yeah, it was very hard.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't give up, and I know what I do. I know I do good, and I'm going to always continue to do that. I'm not going to let anyone take me down.
Yeah. Have you changed your mindset at all, or how you move, and like, what did you learn from that experience?
I mean, I learned that haters are your biggest fans. They're going out of their way to watch your content and criticize you. So it's really not a bad thing. Mm-hmm. You're going to have haters regardless. You just got to kind of brush it off your shoulder. You can't let it get to you. And I'm a laid back person. I don't really let things get to me. But what I went through, it was definitely tough. Mm-hmm. I mean, what I recommend to anyone that goes through something, where there's a bunch of hate, just let it go over you, Don't let it get to your head. Don't feed into it. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah. Easier said than done, though. Yeah. I mean, I even see comments, and it hurts your feelings.
It definitely does, yeah.
Things that people say, and it takes time to get, unfortunately, you kind of have to get desensitized to it.
Yeah, it takes time, I went through, that whole thing I went through was like 3 or 4 months of people accusing me of stealing money. It's like, come on,
Yeah, I didn't really, and I didn't know, I still don't know you very well, so I didn't have like an opinion on the whole thing. I don't want to say that I came to your defense, because I was kind of just an innocent bystander, like indifferent. Correct. I don't know. Like, I don't know what you're capable of. I don't know what's true, what's not true. But what I didn't like, and I did actually make a couple comments on some of the videos, was regardless of the truth of the situation, how some of these people acted, was not appropriate and was immature, and it felt very sick. Like, it felt like people in early recovery, sick people. Like, it reminded me of like the way that maybe I would think and act when I was sick.
I agree.
And so I just didn't like it. I didn't like it. And it seems like, I don't know what ultimately happened. I didn't follow every detail, but it seems to just kind of all of a sudden dissipated.
Yeah, I think over time, and then eventually I met up with one of the people that was accusing me, and I showed him that there was no money misappropriated or stolen or whatever. Mm-hmm. So I kept quiet the whole time, because why am I going to show my, even though it's a nonprofit that I started, number one, I was new. I had no idea what I was doing.
Right.
I got a bunch of money thrown at me. I was helping people, and then they were just jealous people.
Yeah. So. And I understood that as well. That's kind of how I looked at it, because I run a business as well, right? I'm the sole member of my LLC for my business that I run. And starting a business, it is tough, especially I can imagine you start a nonprofit. Like you said, you're blowing up on social media. You get all this money coming in. You're doing your best to figure it out.
Correct. Yeah. And I had no idea.
You had no clue. It's not like you were this, big company that had been in the business for years and had a CFO and all this big corporate structure.
Correct.
You're just like trying to make the best decision day to day.
That's it. And that's all I was doing. And, people were getting treatment, and that's the main thing, that I care about is that people are getting treatment. So, and they're being taken care of. All the money that came in simply went to, even as little as getting them a haircut, buying them, going food shopping, giving them money for that. Mm-hmm. And the one thing that I really never did was just hand them cash.
Yeah.
I'd always monitor it and make sure that they're good.
Yeah, and it's interesting for somebody to be so critical of you on such a small scale, when clearly, I would imagine if we look at the books and you look at the numbers, where how efficient you are with that money is going to be way more efficient than all of these large nonprofits that we look at. You're not throwing extravagant parties and flying on jets, and it's in the big scheme of things, it's a small amount of money, and you're probably using all of it or almost all of it is actually going where you're saying it's going, versus a lot of companies aren't able to do that.
Correct. And I actually came out of my own pocket, roughly, I'd say up to date, maybe $60,000, $70,000. Because once everyone started accusing me of, misappropriating the money, that's where I had to come out of pocket. And it was tough.
Come out of pocket and like, what made you come out of pocket and for what?
Because there was no more funding coming in.
Gotcha.
Because everyone was accusing me of being a thief.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Yeah. And I stayed quiet, and, me staying quiet, I looked like I was, I guess, a thief. But that's just how I handle things,
Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting. I don't know if it would have made it better or worse for you to be more vocal. I know you addressed it a little bit. Has that, now that that's kind of died off, has money started coming back in through the nonprofit?
Not really. No matter what, if you start a nonprofit, it's hard getting funding.
Yeah.
Unless you're going to have someone work for you full time trying to get grants or, from the government.
Right.
It's really hard to get funding unless you do, a fundraiser or something like that. But I'm so busy as it is. So I think I have someone coming on board that's going to help me with that. Okay. Which is really going to help, because I just want to get back to helping people. Yeah. I have an addiction to helping people. Yeah. That's,
we're addicts.
Correct.
We're addicted to something, right? Whether it's the gym, golf, helping people. That's right. And I always found, for me, especially in early recovery, like being of service was so helpful for me.
Correct. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you too, because this is such an interesting thing. I think a lot of the criticism that I see of you online is because you're filming your good acts, right?
Correct. Yeah.
And it's this interesting thing where it's like, and I understand the perspective of why people feel that way, but it's also interesting because if you didn't do it, you wouldn't be able to help the people that you're helping. Correct. Which is a really interesting conundrum to be in.
Yeah, I agree.
It's like, is it uncomfortable? Is it, like I understand what they're saying, like, oh, you're doing something good, but you're using it, you're filming it to get clout and to use these people. And it's like, maybe I can see that, yes, but it's like a necessary thing.
Correct. There's obviously some, I guess, clout in it, but the biggest thing is spreading the word, spreading the message so that other people do what I do. Yeah. And I'm going to be totally honest with you. I hate putting a camera in someone's face. Absolutely hate it. If I didn't have to do it, I wouldn't do it, but I do it because I'm definitely sending a message, and there are other people out there that are doing what I do because of my videos. Yeah. There are people getting clean and sober because they watch my videos, and that's rewarding, And I've had multiple people call me, email me, and tell me that to the point where I had one kid, he made me cry, when he told me his story and what I did for him just by him watching my videos.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's makes it all worth it, right? Even if there's, one son, one daughter that you're helping, correct, that you're saving from the ultimate rock bottom, which is death, as we know. Oh yeah. I think it makes it all worth it, but it's definitely not easy, I can tell. Yeah. Looking at what you do and dealing with the criticism is, I know it would be tough on me.
Yeah, it's definitely tough. Yeah. But I don't know, like I said, I'm just so laid back. I know what I do. Yeah. And I know that I'm a good person at heart, and I will always be like that. So
right. So what's the next steps for you? What's the future look like for the Good Boss?
So I guess I'm revamping the Good Project, the nonprofit I started.
Because, not to cut you off, but I couldn't find like a website or anything for that.
So the website's down. It's being under construction right now. We're just totally changing it. And ever since everything that happened, I want to do things different. I want to be a little more transparent. If I'm going to help someone, it's probably going to be a GoFundMe where everyone can see exactly what was raised. Right. And then I'll keep a spreadsheet where that money goes. So just to, make sure people are, I guess, happy. Yeah. And not sitting on the couch saying, oh, where's that money? Let me make a comment and try and stir things up.
I know. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah. It's interesting. So, because you ultimately want to revamp that, and it's unfortunate because you're right, where even, with the stuff that's been online, it's going to be hard for you to bring in money. Are you going to kind of rebrand that in a different way, or how do you vision that happening? I'm just going
to keep going forward and show the people that there was a mistake from other people accusing me, and let them kind of realize it themselves. I'm not going to really change the way I do things, just a little bit, tweak, and give people what they want. They want to see where the money goes, you know, that's what I'm going to do. Because like I said in the beginning, I had no idea what I was doing. I was helping people, and that's all I knew.
Yeah. Yeah. So, no, I understand. I mean, people are donating money into an account. You're allocating that as you see fit. And that's what every nonprofit does.
Correct.
You know?
And I will say one thing. If I did anything wrong, you guys will see me in prison.
And that's what I said from the beginning when I saw a lot of this just really, really bad hate. And I said, listen, guys, like I don't know what the truth is. I don't know if he really did just take this money and spend it on Lamborghinis and vacations. Maybe he did, but the way that you're going about it is not appropriate. You know, if this is what you think happened, then let the authorities get involved, and he'll go to jail.
And I know a lot of people, you know, wrote to the Attorney General or whatever. I mean, no one's came up to me yet. So when they do, I'm going to be ready. The taxes are almost done.
Yeah. Isn't it crazy the power of social media and people just, and it's basically takes one person to just be relentless. And then you have armies of people that have no knowledge of anything. And they attack you. That just pile on. Yeah. It's really interesting. But did it grow your brand more? Or do you think ultimately hurt you? Curious.
I think hurt me just for that moment.
Yeah.
A few months or whatever. But you know, I'm never going to stop doing what I do. Like never.
Yeah.
You guys will see me doing this in 20 years. So
cool.
And that's a fact. I also have these t-shirts here that I sell.
Okay.
30% goes back to either my nonprofit or other nonprofits you know, around the whole U.S.
So how do people find you, and how do they buy your merch and stuff like that?
So they can just go to victorthegoodboss.com.
Okay.
And they'll see the shirts. We usually do one a month. So next month we're launching for October 1st. Is that my phone?
That is my phone, man. Party foul. You know what it is? That's my business partner, and he's the one person that is immune to the silent thing. I must have him in that list. Yeah. That's now I have to make sure I fix that. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
It's all good. So October 1st, we're launching a new shirt that is literally going to be for everyone. I can't say it now, but it's going to be for everyone, and it's going to support, like I said, 30% will be given back for net. Sorry, let me back up. 30% of net profits will be going back to other nonprofits, including my own, into helping homelessness, addiction, aiding veterans, and more. I just simply want to do good with the money, and as of right now, we raised just under $700 so that we can give back. And it's only been 2 months, really.
Yeah. And I want to say too, you know, Victor, and maybe this will be helpful to you. Maybe you need to hear it, maybe not. I think it's okay for you to make money.
Yeah,
and I don't mean obviously misappropriation. I mean, if you're running a nonprofit, you should, and you're putting all this time into it, you should absolutely be paying yourself a salary out of it. You should be able to sell merch and make money from your business that you have on the side. You should be able to make money on TikTok. I don't think that they have to be exclusive. I kind of liken it to the fact that I have friends who do very well in the rehab business. You're still helping people. You should be allowed to make money as well. You should be able to run a business. And I feel like you probably you battle with yourself about that. And,
I do.
And there's a lot of people who, it's interesting. There's a lot of people online who would say you should live a poor life and be miserable and not make any money and dedicate 1,000 hours a week to helping people. And I want you to know from my perspective, and I think a lot of people in the world share that perspective, that you don't have to feel that way. And you it's okay to be successful in your business, and it's okay to want to build that and do well for yourself and your family at the same time. And they don't have to, you know, they can be two separate things, and they can work together and both be okay.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I think that's something I'll think about down the road. Right now, I just want to try and get as much sales as I can to give back. You know, whatever profit that comes my way, I'll put it somewhere separate. Because the other thing that I do too is random acts of kindness. And that mostly comes out of my pocket. So
cool.
Unless it's making money off TikTok. But the past 2 months were good on TikTok, but you know, if the videos are not doing well with views, then there's no money coming in.
Yeah, I got to get up there. I got to start making TikToks, man. Get some of that TikTok money.
Yeah, it's good when you get the views. It's good.
Yeah,
but it's a lot of work. You know,
it is. How many videos do you post in a day?
I probably do like 2.
So that's it. That's not a lot. Then a lot of creators do more than that, right?
Yeah, there's some people that are just full time. I mean, I guess I'm full time. I look at it on being an influencer, but also in my business. So it's kind of half and half.
Yeah. So when you first started doing the TikToks, did you just kind of get lucky where you like posted a couple videos and they started getting traction, or were you like methodical of like, no, I want to do TikTok?
No, I just started posting my guys, me buying them coffee, bringing them lunch, giving them a raise like on camera. I thought that was cool. And then they just started going viral from there.
The first video that you made, were you doing it for like, because you probably just had a few followers, right? You made it for like your friends. What was the first video? Do you remember what it was?
I think my first video was me filming my guys. We were wrapping up a patio and they were wetting it down. And I just played like some girly song, Taylor Swift or something like that. And I just did it for fun.
And people obviously liked it.
Yeah. I didn't intend on making money off social media. I didn't imagine to be where I am now. Instagram, I have like 520,000 followers. TikTok, 2.8 million. I never expected this.
Right. From a guy that was, we didn't talk about your previous story, but a guy that was addicted to drugs, went to prison, came out, started a landscaping company, and now you got millions of followers and people, love you, hate you. But they both follow what you do and
That's right.
and think about you and comment on it. So, good for you. I really appreciate you coming to sit with me. I know you're a busy guy, and I know you're going to leave here and go, create some content. And I'm sure you have, jobs going on as well and trying to balance those. So I know it's a big deal for you to take, an hour out of your day. So I do appreciate it.
Yeah, no, likewise. I appreciate you. And my biggest thing is just getting the message out there,
Yeah. And I appreciate you trusting me as well, because I know you've been attacked a lot. And,
Correct, yeah.
And so I'm glad you trusted me to come on and chat, and and I hope things continue to move in the right direction.
Yeah, I mean, if not, I'm still going to continue.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Like I always say.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Someone can give me a nasty comment. I'm still going to keep going.
It seems like you weathered the storm. The stuff that I've seen has been positive.
Correct,
So
yeah. I'm all positive.
Yeah.
I don't really feed into the negativity because what's the point? I'm not here for negativity. I'm here for positivity.
Yeah.
So I'll keep doing what I do.
And I'll leave you with this. My girl and I were talking about this because I've been posting content for the past couple months and I get a ton of hate comments.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, and I'll admit partially because some of the videos I post, like I kind of expect that I'm going to get hate comments. So I'm not going to pretend like I'm just an innocent bystander here, but we'll kind of lay in bed and joke and read the comments and laugh about it at this point.
Yeah.
And I had this bad habit. I've kind of stopped doing it, but at first I would like respond back. And not respond back like with hate, but I would like try to like make it funny. Like I would like roast them or something. and I was having fun with it. And she just says to me, she's like, listen, she's like, I saw your response. I laughed. She's like, but when Beyonce makes a post on Instagram and she gets a ton of nasty comments, she doesn't respond to them.
Correct.
You need to be Beyonce. And so now I say to myself, whenever I'm online, I'm Beyonce.
That's right.
Right. So Victor, be Beyonce.
That's right. And that's what I'll always do. I'm never going to feed into. So actually, I'm not going to lie. I do feed into some of the negative comments and I turn them into positive comments. That I like to do sometimes.
Like actually responding to them type of thing? Yeah.
I'll respond to a nasty negative comment and I'll just turn it into positive.
Yeah. Well, what's funny is you can take on TikTok, you can respond to the comment, but you don't even have to respond. You could even you probably do this, like misread the comment and pretend it's positive.
Yeah, I do. I've done a bunch of them.
It's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. All in good fun. But hey man, thanks. I really appreciate it. And, I've been following you ever since Luke showed me, ages ago. I think it's a couple years now.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I'll keep, following along and checking you out, and maybe we can do this again sometime.
Yeah, no, I'd be happy to do it again.
Cool, brother.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
All right.